What up, everyone? Thanks for attending the workshop this week. If you guys haven't been to these workshops before, they're absolute fire. We basically just go through how people are using AudienceLab in the best way. And, it's stuff that we actually are doing in the trenches. It's not stuff that sounds good in theory. It works in real life. Today, we're going to be going over SMS campaigns. And we've got Sam, who's going to be dropping some absolute fire. Before I jump into the workshop, I'm going to give you guys just a quick little, got a few little announcements to go through. First things first, if you guys saw in the school, we gave some like sneaky previews about some B2B stuff. So I'm going to quickly share some stuff with you here. Our latest integration is an app that we have partnered to develop called Daily. Now, this is strictly for our B2B feature. And what's really cool about this is basically it's outbound AI for strictly business phone numbers and businesses. So essentially, we've got a workflow builder. We've built voicemail drop. The AI model is absolutely mint. And what's cool about this is the compliance aspect built in, because we've got the DNC and then we've also got a type of scrubbing to make sure that it's a business. You're not calling personal people. So it's really a lead machine that you can just set on autopilot. So we're going to start dropping announcements in the coming weeks about this. This is one of our first big native integrations, and then we've got some other ones coming. But if you're looking to do anything in B2B, this one's going to be huge. And yeah, so I'll drop that there. Second little announcement is drop me a 1 if you guys are here and you are an agency owner, but you're not currently using AudienceLab, just so I can get an idea of who we got in here, because I want to send some stuff over, make sure everybody's educated. Okay, got a few people. Cool. All right, if that's you and you have put in 1 and you are an agency owner and you were not currently inside AudienceLab, I want you to immediately grab a spot on our data as a service calendar, because there's some awesome stuff that we can send your way. Basically, it's going to catch you with either Nathan, myself, Mark, or Adrian. Even if, you come in the call and you're like, hey, this isn't for me or whatever, we can still send you something awesome, right? Basically, we have, if you guys don't know, we have a program called Data as a Service, where we essentially help you build data as a service offer. And we've actually got some pretty cool stuff happening with our incubator program as well. So it's worthwhile to book a call. So I'm going to chuck the link, get in while you can. These spots book out quick. But if you are an agency owner and you are not currently using AudienceLab, get in and book in to learn about data as a service. You will not regret it. And we'll send you something cool as well. All right, so let's get started. So just to give a quick little intro, Sam actually, how did I come across? Oh, I had a Mark, one of our sales guys, hit me up and he's like, hey, we've got a client inside DAS who is doing TCPA compliant SMS. And that kind of really like freaked me out, because I was like, TCPA compliant SMS, how does that work? And then I came across Sam, who's doing something pretty awesome. I'm going to let him explain it, but I really learned a lot about TCPA working with him. Now, I will stress, we are not lawyers. We've been dealing with lawyers, and what we're doing works right now. Things could change, so I don't want anyone to like watch this recording a year from now and be like, oh, this is exactly how to do it. We can't guarantee this is the best way to do it in perpetuity, but this is what's working right now, and we're seeing pretty awesome results. So I'm going to let Sam, I'm going to let you take over on the screen share, bro, and yeah, introduce yourself and let's get cracking.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that intro, and great to meet you, everybody. So today I'm gonna go a little crazy. We're going to pull out the iPad here, and I saw somebody do this for some kind of presentation, just drew it instead of doing a presentation. I thought it was a lot of fun. So let me know if you guys can see this.
Oh, that's very nice. I'm going to do that for my
I
presentation.
know.
This is
Yeah.
nice, man.
Get you. There you go. Okay, so Yeah, well, I just wanted to introduce myself real fast. So I'm Samuel Smith. I've had an agency called the Follow Up Agency for about 6 years now. Started off media buying and Facebook ads from, if any of the OGs know, Ty Lopez's SMMA course. Oh yeah, that was good old days. So did Facebook ads for a while, and then we switched to doing a lot of database reactivation campaigns in high level. So mostly texting is what we did there because we figured email really didn't work well. Hey, Lance, good. We love Ty. So yeah, we did a lot of AI SMS reactivation campaigns, and we had only done anything with opt-in, right? But I quickly realized people's existing lists only last so long. And so for the past year and a half, 2 years, I've been searching and trying to build a way to reach out to new people with the same kind of SMS system that we had. And I didn't want to just go and spend a bunch of money on Facebook ads because a bunch of people were doing that. And then I stumbled across AudienceLab about a year, 6 months, 8 months ago. And I was like, holy cow, this is insane. If we can have these people that are searching this and then a compliant way to reach out to them, it would be absolutely money. So I knew that I reached out to some TCPA lawyers and some compliance experts, and over a few months, we developed a system, our own platform that we're able to compliantly SMS anybody without opt-in. And I know some of you guys may have been seeing the new FTC ruling coming out January 16th, I think, of 2025 about one-to-one consent, which is pretty much cracking down on people reselling opt-in leads. This completely sidesteps that entire thing because we're not reaching out to people with opt-in. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and jump in. So the first thing I want to talk with you about that we learned from lawyers is what the TCPA is and what it is not. The first thing to know about the TCPA is that it pretty much says three main things that you cannot do without opt-in. And that's the important thing to note, without opt-in. The first thing you cannot do is you cannot call or text people on the DNC. Okay, everybody knows this, but and this is both state and federal. Okay, there's about 13 states that have their own DNC lists. Can't message those. And if you want to know just a way that you can scrub against this, just go to like dnc.com or something like that, and you can scrub against these people. Okay.
Oh, one
Number
thing,
two.
Sam, just real quick on that
Yeah, go for
part.
it.
We have recently done an update on our DNC, which is based on the federal DNC. So you guys should see that when you download an audience inside of AudienceLab. It should have a DNC flag. I'm not sure if we pushed the update yet. It's happening this week, but that is the federal DNC. It's not state, but usually federal is on state, so it's up to you whether you're going to do state as well. But yeah, we have pushed that, which is super cool.
Well, there you go. Forget dnc.com. Adam is the man. So just make sure that you're looking out for the state part too. Okay, cool. So you can't call or text people that are on the DNC. Makes sense. The second thing is you cannot use an artificial or pre-recorded voice. So any of my error users, I know everyone's like, oh man, AI, you can't call. It was actually never legal in the first place to cold outreach to people. And this is I will rephrase this. This is for B2C and for B2B, because as soon as you text somebody that works at a business, if you're texting their cell phone number, they are technically a consumer. So you still have to be aware of that. Okay. So artificial pre-recorded voice in SMS is not a voice. Yeah, and if you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate to drop it in. I'll answer them as we go. So no calling and texting on DNC. Next, no artificial or pre-recorded voice. So that means doing ringless voicemails. You cannot do to cold people. You can also not do air. You can't do AI call. Can't do a pre-recorded. Can't do any of that. Just think about it from this perspective, guys. And businesses like calling the straight business, I don't have a whole lot of stuff. This is for B2C. And if you're doing any kind of skip tracing on the AudienceLab and stuff that's coming in, that is a wireless number. Okay, wireless number counts as B2C. like another thing here is like IVR. If you're just calling them and then putting them through an IVR, can't do any of that. So just think about it from the Fed's perspective, right? I want to eliminate robocalls. Like people are getting spammed. I don't want this to happen, right? No robocalls. That's really what people are. That's what the Federal Reserve is, not Federal Reserve. The Fed is trying to do. FTC. Okay. So with that in mind, the third thing that you cannot do is you cannot have an ATDS. This stands for automatic telephone dialing system. So if you've heard of a dialer, heard of some of those things, ATDS is pretty much saying you cannot auto dial someone that is on the DNC that is now if you have consent, you can do any of this stuff. All this stuff is good with consent. Okay. So you can have an ATDS, and this is the really important thing right here. This is what we're going to focus on because someone said it broke up. Let me know if I need to repeat anything, Adam. So this is the ATDS. This is a very important thing. So with consent, okay, Eddie, I saw your question. With consent, you can call and text people on the DNC. You can use an AI call. You can use ringless voicemails. You can use all this stuff. Like if you have one-to-one consent where you've run ads, you've done all these certain things, and people have said yes, you're good to go. FTC is like, you're fine. The real thing is when we are looking to reach out to people on AudienceLab, which haven't opted in, how are we going to reach out to those people? So ATDS, automatic telephone dialing system, you cannot use that. I can't use something that happened. Now you might be saying, what in the world does that mean? How is that defined? Okay, and this is defined as having the capacity to sequentially, I forget exactly what the legalese is, but it's pretty much it has the capacity to auto dial or auto text. So any of my high level users, it's technically, and or Twilio are technically been called in several different rulings as an auto dialer. Other states have said it isn't. Other states have said it is. But pretty much you can't use high level, can't use Twilio to reach out to these people that have not opted in yet. Okay. Which if you notice, high level now has that little thing where you upload contacts. I've gotten consent within the last 90 days from these people.
Hey, Sam,
okay?
I want to just quickly, because this part's really important, guys, and this is something I didn't really realize, is it's anything that actually has the capacity to auto dial. So like a lot of people are like, oh, well, I can just do this and not use the auto dialer function or something like that, right? But even if it has the capacity to auto dial, like it's got that built in as a feature, you can still get caught out.
Yeah, and so the real fun part is the fines on this bad boy, which is $500 to $1,500. Oh, that's kind of fine per text. And let that sit for a second. So this is why most people just don't even want to get anywhere clear. They see that times any kind of hundreds, and they're like, "Okay, I'm done. No thanks." And I don't know about you, but I don't plan on getting in any lawsuits personally, and I don't really. It doesn't sound like a lot of fun. So I was like, the stakes are very high to make sure that you do this right. Now, there's a bunch of people that they're like, okay, that's fine. I'm making a bunch of money anyway. They just put it into their costs. And that's one way of doing it. And they can like do shell companies. But whenever you start to talk about shell companies, you're like, okay, am I really in the right business? So this is what's at stake. Okay. So we have to make sure that we're doing this correctly or else that. Now, just for full transparency, it's not like, okay, as soon as I do this, like the Fed is like, oh, hey, you did this thing. You have litigators that are looking for, that are constantly putting themselves and opting into a bunch of different stuff and just waiting for people to text them, okay, and or call them. And then that's when they send a demand letter, and they're like, hey, give me this information about how you got this stuff, yada, 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 okay? So now if you scrub litigators, you can go risky and just say, hey, man, I think there's some people that do that and just send there's people that are sending 1 million texts a day uncompliantly, and they're settling for between like under 20K for a suit. But then there's some about 20% So 80% of the lawsuits are under 20K, which they call nuisance value, which 20K doesn't sound like a nuisance to me. 20% are over $100,000 settlement. Okay. And if they really think that you're doing something uncompliantly, then they'll try to go class action on you for several millions. Okay. So I'm just trying to give a little bit of context of what's at stake, why it's not smart to just throw these people in the high level and just blast everyone. Okay. I'm not saying do that. Do not do that. Okay. Or else you could be looking at some hefty fines and it's not fun. Okay. So the question is, what do you do about this? Obviously, we don't want fines. We don't want lawsuits. So the thing that you do now, let me look. So I talked with several TCPA lawyers and the verified compliance experts too. The whole point of this right here is to do this. You cannot do these things without consent. So if you see the logic there, if you don't have consent, as long as you do not do any of these things, you are compliant. Okay, I'm gonna let that sit for a second. I'm gonna say that again. If you are reaching out to people without consent, you can't do these three things, which means if you aren't doing these three things, you are in fact compliantly allowed to reach out to these people. Okay, so how do we do that? Call text on DNC. We scrub that through the amazing AudienceLab stuff that Adam's done, plus state. Cool, we're good to go there. Next, we're not error calling people. We're just SMSing. So, okay, cool. Now, what the heck is an ATDS? And what the heck does that mean? And how do I not do that whenever I'm messaging people? So, one thing that you can do is you have to, and the thing is, remember, capacity. If it has the capacity to auto dial, like all of these different text messaging software has the capacity to send more than one, it's technically an ATDS. So here's one thing you can do. And I'm giving you something you can do right now without anything that we're doing. And you can do this. You can go and just text with your cell phone. You literally can go and do that. So if you got some high-end B2B people that you want to text, you can text them with your cell phone. You have to send each one manually. That is compliant because it's not an ATDS. You can't auto dial within your cell phone. Okay. That's only going to be able to do a small volume though. Right. Number two. So here's the thing. We have actually designed and built a whole software around this that we are looking and we're trying to figure out exactly how we can open this up for you guys to use. But you can send through our platform where you have to have a human being send out each and every message. They have to click each and every message. And you're like, man, that takes a long time. But we can send out 10,000 messages an hour per agent with our system. Okay. It is a little bit more expensive than Twilio. I will say that because it's fully compliant. But that's pretty much what you have to do is you can send with your cell phone or you can go through and send through some of our platform that we have where we just go through, we take the list from AudienceLab to skip trace people. Then we just, I literally just had a ChatGPT take all of the phone numbers and put it into a list, run it through DNC, and then upload to our platform. And the fun part is we're actually managing the entire thing. So we have the textures. We do the campaign registration, like the A2P10 DLC stuff. We do all that for you. We also manage all replies. And we can send, now you might say, okay, where do we send these people? You can send these people to an appointment. You can send these people to a call. You can send them to a link. There's a few different things you can do. And then as far as like the results from this, we've had, like, I think Adam snuck a little thing in there. We spent $143 and we got 138 clicks. And this was for Windows replacement. 138 clicks, 6 leads, 1 close. And we sent actually another batch earlier yesterday. So this is going to be updated with a lot more people. So Yeah, that's pretty much everything that I've got here. Adam, I want to throw it back over to you. Do you have any questions, thoughts, concerns? I also know that we've been brainstorming how we can to see. We're kind of just want to see, okay, would people actually be interested in this from the Audience Lab community? Like, would they want us to run kind of cold compliant SMS campaigns to list for your clients and kind of work with them on some kind of side
Yeah.
there?
Yeah. So, no, this is super helpful. I mean, I think like a lot of people, when they hear TCPA, it's very like convoluted and everyone's got an opinion, everyone's like, oh, you can do this, you can do that. But yeah, it really does boil down to those three things. Yeah, this is really cool because essentially, so just to chat on some of these early campaigns we're doing in home services. Um, Essentially all we did is we pulled it wasn't even a custom, it was just a pre-made for window replacement. So we just took that, and then if you guys saw, how we have the skip trace wireless, basically that is the mobile number. So we just took the skip trace wireless, we scrubbed it on did we do our no, we didn't do our own DNC for this one. We used like I think DNC.com. Regarding the TCPA litigator scrub, did you do that on your side, Sam? Because I know we didn't.
Yeah, we have a couple
Did you do that
different.
one?
Yeah, we
Oh, you
have
cool.
two different. We go through a couple different ones just to make sure.
I will drop one that I think is very helpful. That's actually because a lot of people recommend DNC.com. They're quite expensive. This one here, I've actually
Yeah.
spoken to the founder, and it's as good, if not better. And I'll send his details here. It's called TCPA Litigator List. If you
That's
guys
the
don't
one
know
we're shifting
what
over to.
this is, TCPA Litigator List is basically, actually I'll share my screen real quick so I can show them. Let me just replace the share. 1 second. If you guys can see
Can I
that.
just hop in and answer a couple of questions while you do that?
Yeah, no worries.
Okay.
So this is
First,
a example of a
go ahead.
site that we sometimes use. I recommend this one I recommend this one a lot. I spoke to the owner and the guy's super chill. Basically this costs, let me see. I think it's about
It's
200.
$200 for 200,000 scrubs a month, and they
Yeah,
roll
which is
over.
good, which is really, really good. And I mean, like, if you go up further, and get in bulk, it's way, way cheaper as well. We're actually speaking to them about seeing how we can do some kind of bulk integration. But yeah, basically, if you do a TCPA scrub, that just means it looks for any litigators that order that subscribe to different newsletters or opt-ins or anything like that, so they can spread the email and phone number out, so they can try to sue you, because people actually like make a living out of this. I think that's what a
And
lot
this
of people
has
don't
DNC
understand.
too. This has state and Fed DNC, plus they have troll numbers, plus they have this
Mm.
troll. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
the same
so
thing as Blacklist Alliance.
the difference between state and federal, that's probably like a common question that people would have. So basically, federal is like the national DNC. And the only way usually to access that is to register with a big company like DNC.com. And it's a pretty hefty price tag too in order to get access to that. I think it's like 250 million numbers, and it's updated every month. And that is people that register for the federal DNC. Now, there's also what's called state DNC, and state DNC is each state has their own do not call list. What you can do, and what I've done to really kind of bring costs lower for doing scrubs. I'll see if I can. I might. Hang on 1 second. I'll come back and log in later. It's on a different computer. But
Yeah,
what I'll
for context, this has state, federal, and litigator scrubs, which is everything you need to do the scrub.
Yeah, what I would recommend doing, because it can get pretty costly. Like, let's say for an example, you know, we see with like a really not fantastic call center, right? Like when I say not fantastic, I mean like we just, this is like offshore teams that we're getting and things like that. We were seeing out of 10,000, and this is SMS by this is call center. So SMS would be completely different, but we were seeing like out of 10,000, you would book at least like 30 to 40 people, and this was say like for roofing. And so you're looking at, you want to get like a good volume of leads in each day. And when it comes into doing like TCPA compliance and scrubbing for each lead, it can get pretty costly. So what I was going to show you guys is if you go into here and you go into phone scrub, basically you've got TCPA, and then you've got federal DNC and state DNC. Now, AudienceLab, we have basically got a DNC that we put through, and we've scrubbed all numbers against the DNC, and we do that once a month. So you can still do it if you want, but you shouldn't have to do the federal DNC. Now, there could be something else in here that they have that we don't, but I'm just saying we do have the federal DNC is what we've started applying to all the numbers inside AudienceLab. The biggest one you want is the TCPA and TCPA troll. Now, what is cool about this is you can click here, and these states here, like the one that have the little hammer next to it, that's who has their own state DNC, where like people will register on the federal, but they'll also register on the state. Usually if someone's on a state DNC, they're on a federal DNC, but some people might just register in their state only. So what I do to save costs here, sorry?
One thing on the state that's really important. So what we were talking about with cold texting, there are actually 5 states where it is illegal and you cannot do cold texting. And that is because they have their own state laws that say you can't do cold SMS without opt-in. Okay, so they specifically say that. And that is Texas, Louisiana, New Jersey, Arizona, and one other one that's a free one. I'll let you guys figure out which one that was. I'll go figure out what the last one is. But
California.
Yeah. It's not California.
It's not California. Oh, what? Oh, I thought it was California.
I know. Yeah, it's Wyoming.
Oh, it's Wyoming. Okay. So it's still okay. Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll put that in the thing for guys watching this on recording. But if you guys want to like save costs when doing things like this, what I'd recommend is obviously we have our own DNC, so you can just use that. But then if you want to go to the ones here like Colorado, Florida, Indiana, Louisiana, Missouri, Massachusetts, Tennessee, Wyoming, you don't want to do that anyway, Texas. So these are the states that have their own state DNC. And what you can do with this, which is really cool, is say for an example, if you had a file inside of AudienceLab, you pull the DNC that you have inside of AudienceLab and you scrub those out. Then what you can do is you could basically just filter anybody that's in this state, and then you can upload it here, and then you can just save a ton. Because otherwise it's gonna like pull every record. I do this and it saves a ton, because otherwise, you're pushing every single record and then you're basically doing things twice. So that's a really kind of simple way you can do it, is you just make sure you have TCPA and TCPA troll. This one's most important. And then your state DNC, and you just have these 10 states selected. Now, what it does essentially is, let me go and I'll show you an example. So you can see here, like say for an example, we put it
for the lowest.
Sorry?
Someone was asking cost.
Oh, you can see here, we put in like 15,000, and you can see there was 915 people that were found on either state DNC or they were TCPA trolls. So you can see in here, like TCPA, there was like 4 TCPA trolls. NRA means that it like recognized their name. So it wasn't the number they recognized the TCPA troll, but it was like their name, which could be associated still. And then obviously you have your state DNC. So state DNC is really important. There's no way that we can, I don't think there's like a database you can acquire for state DNC. You have to actually go for a service, but if you do it this way, it's pretty cheap. But yeah, that's the only thing I'd really add in on that, is with this kind of SMS stuff, you can do it that way. Now, a ton of people are probably wondering, how they can get access to this type of service, how they can do SMS. So what we're going to do is I'm going to send out an email with more details so people can actually, because we are building a waiting list for this type of thing. Like everything, we want to get in the trenches ourselves and try it out first. So far, so good on a lot of these campaigns. And I know it's it's getting to the point now. I mean, what's cool about SMS and this kind of stuff is usually if I saw early results in a campaign, I wouldn't post it if it was on Facebook because I'll be like, oh, as soon as I scale this up, it's gonna completely change. Whereas SMS is or anything like that, it's different because it's like you don't have an algorithm that's gonna just completely change it and make you charge more, right? So if you're getting a certain percentage on 3,500 SMSs, we can like scale that up to, okay, let's do 10,000 and go from there. Um, One thing that I think is cool to mention that we've done with this is we start off at about 500 SMSs, which is, like what was that, like $140 or something?
That was no, it
Well, it
was
was
140
3,500,
bucks for
sorry.
3,500.
Yeah,
So
3,500.
we
So we start off with like a sample of anywhere from 1,000 to 5,000, and that's going to get you your CPA. So I think right now, based on what we're getting with the client, we can see the CPA is probably, well, right now the CPA would be ridiculously good. I mean, it'd probably be like, well, 140, 100, $130. And this is for like a full window house replacement. So I don't know the average sale on that, but we had that one lady who had like a whole mansion, which is pretty cool. Anyway,
I was
the
like,
point
wow.
is, the point is that once you do the initial test and then you get your CPA, the best way to do that is once you have your CPA, then you can start calculating it, and then you can see how you want to be able to onboard clients and stuff. If you're like, new to SMS and this type of stuff, that's why I always recommend it's get your CPA. And what we could do is I could even show the forecast that I've been using for this with this particular client, and I might attach that to this workshop. But yeah, so I'll send out an email exactly of how this works and how you can use it for your client, because that's why everyone's here is they want to use it for their clients. I have a few clients who are wanting to contact everyone searching weight loss for qualified leads, give them a discount.
Yeah, you
So
can
I
do that.
will say, Sam, have you ever done this for any kind of, because ecom, I think is like that kind of stuff like ecom and things is a little bit different. I mean, mainly you focus this on home services, right?
Oh, this works for anything that's higher ticket. I mean, you can do so yeah, you can reach out to anybody that's I mean, you just gotta work out your CPA, right? Like, for example, we have a really large e-com flower company that we work with that is pretty much they only make 20 bucks on a lead or on a conversion. Like a actual like that's how much they make on a client. So it's like it doesn't make sense to do that if you're only paying 15 bucks, you know? So you just have to have something that has a higher cost of sale so that you can make sense to reach out.
Yeah, no,
Also,
that makes total sense.
there were a couple other early questions that I was going to go just back real fast and answer. So let me see. Um, let's see. So this is B2C and B2B. Another thing is you can send a link directly in the text message, sure. Sometimes we see a little bit less of a delivery rate, but it still works. Twilio you cannot use to send text messages because that has the capacity to auto dial and therefore is not compliant. And you
Yeah,
should
let's let
be
that
charged.
resonate for a bit, right? So, like, you can't you even use Twilio. Like, if you want to do this
Can't use
100%
high
TCPA
level.
compliant,
Can't use
can't even
Twilio.
use Twilio because it has the capacity to be able to do automated, um, go automated. That's crazy. One person said as well, and this one is this law firm compliant? So that's more about like I think if you're talking about can you use like personal injury and stuff, I would say no because you're not really meant to solicit business through any kind of cold contact for
Correct. It is
legal.
illegal
So
for yeah, it's illegal for lawyers to self promote. Now, there is a bit of a way around that. I don't know. I haven't asked my lawyer about it. They can say, hey, if I've got a company that represents lawyers and I solicit from that company and then distribute, maybe. Um, so I don't know on that. Are there messaging restrictions required to be compliant? Yes, you have to have reply stop to opt out on every message, not just on the first one, like from high level.
um
So
can you use
and
Twilio for
anybody else have
B2B?
any questions, just go ahead and drop them.
What I'll do as well, Sam, is I'll just show kind of what a forecast looks like so people can
Sure.
see what how to kind of look at the numbers, because a ton of people after this are going to be like, hey, I want to sell this to my client. Like we've got, one person here who's like, I've got 3 sales calls tomorrow. How can I sell this to them and so forth? So I'm going to quickly share this. I'm going to kind of do it up a little bit before I officially share it, because I want to make sure that, the numbers work and everything and make it look pretty. But this is essentially how we were selling this to the client initially. Now you can put in whatever numbers you want here, but basically what it comes down to is you have your response to form, your reply rate, and revenue per lead. So what we usually find, and we found in this campaign, and Sam, you can kind of weigh in on this, but reply rate, this is inclusive of follow-up as well. So we're looking at an average. So like you'll send out a bunch of texts, but then you need to do a follow-up. So on average, what do you send? About three texts in a campaign in that follow-up?
Yeah. Typically, like we send one, and then a day later we'll send a follow-up, and then we'll typically send one other.
Now this,
there are a lot of people asking how to sign up. So you want to I think we're just going to we're going to send the email with a wait list.
Yeah. I'll send that through right after as well.
Yeah.
I think, so in terms of one thing as well, if you're going to be doing this for your clients, a lot of clients are going to be like, well, can we send this to a landing page, right? So like they're going to want like inbound leads, and you just need to book people directly. Like this is what we have with this client. Now, this client didn't want to have any kind of risk, right? They didn't want to just blast people out sending the link to their landing page in case people complained. So what we did is we sent out an initial first round of texts, and basically that was just a reply yes if you want it. And then if they did want it, then we sent out the link for them to book. Now,
so if Adam, for this one, actually, we actually sent the link in that first message.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, because the reason we didn't want to do that, and no, it's not automated. We have to have a human send out each and every text message for this to be legal. So yeah, there's actually a whole step we took out in there, and we have a affiliate link on there, so people can't even see, like they would have to go through several things to find things.
Oh, so you just had a bridge page. Okay. So basically what we did instead, sorry guys, my bad, so you can do it this way, but what we did is we just created a bridge page. So in order to mitigate risk from our client, we just created a separate brand. One thing that you mentioned, Sam, and I think this is important to bring up, is that brand, we actually had to register that exact brand, right? Like we had to basically create a brand and then make sure that was registered in order to send from that.
Say that again. Yeah, you have to create so the one thing you have to do is you have to do something similar to A2P 10 DLC, but a little bit different. So one question that people are asking is, how do you send 10,000 an hour? I'd like for everybody to go on to one of those clicking websites, like those BPM, and see how many clicks that you can do in a minute, and multiply that times 60. That's how you do 10,000 an hour. And as far as you have to create an actual brand, so you have to do like the A2P 10 DLC, but it's a little bit different because it's a different method. You have to do that whole sort of thing, and we manage the entire thing. We have a good relationship. We can usually get those done in actually between 2 to 3 days.
One more thing I'm going to mention before we start wrapping this up is, let's say, for example, I'm just going to pull up a really good one here, like water restoration or something. Let's say you guys are wanting to make this just even more compliant. I don't know if we did it for this one, but this is something that we are starting to do for other clients. So let's say, for an example, that I'm looking to use this service, right? And I want to be able to sell inbounds at $497 a pop to a network, right? So let's say I go with market call. All I need to do is just sound inbound calls or inbound leads. I think this is for calls. There's also inbound leads too that you can do. And I can get it like $497 a pop, which is pretty sick. So if I was going to work with any large vendor to send them leads or send them calls, they're going to want what is called a token, or an opt-in consent token. Now, what you can do here is the landing page that you were setting up for your client, right? So the one basically where you send out a text, you send that landing page. You just want to make sure that you go to this website here. It's called Active Prospect. Okay. And you generate this thing called a TrustedForm token. Now you can do this inside of high level. And what I'll do is I'll actually share a tutorial on how to do this. But if you go with these guys, like you go to the sales guys, they're going to try push you to do some massive package. Like, oh, you should pay $10,000 a month, whatever. Literally what you do is you jump in and do it for free. Okay. You just register your domain here, right? So you register your domain, and then you can set up a trust form, which is they just give you like a line of code. So I'll show you what trust form looks like. And what it will do essentially is you don't have to pay to set up a trust form. So what it will do is you'll put it on your website, and then it will start sending, you start sending leads, and then it will generate what looks like a certificate. And this is what a certificate looks like, right? It says search trustedform.com, blah, blah, and it has this like line of code here. Now, what is cool about this is, let's say for an example, you had something where you have to prove consent. If you click on here, it actually replays the session, and you can see like the certificate of the person that opted in, right? And usually this thing will hold up. But what TrustedForm does, and a little kind of loophole you can do here without paying a lot of money, is you only have to pay for certificates that you retain. So I think it's like 10 cents per certificate. So, unless you're doing some obscene amount of volume on leads, it's not that bad. But what you do is you install this on any kind of form that you're using, whether it be Go High Level or whatever. And then you can actually set up so that every single opt-in has its certificate attached. So if you're going to work with like a big network, like say OfferVault or Market Call or something like that, and this is something we're doing at the moment for another client is, let's say for an example, you're working with a client and you're selling them appointments, but then they're like, oh, these ones are out of area or whatever. You always want to have one of these networks as a backup that you can just send calls to or send leads to. And a lot of these networks require you to have some kind of consent. So that's one thing I'd mention there is if you really want to just make this even more compliant and something where you can actually sell the leads for more, set up a trusted form on the website that you're actually going to send traffic to, so that when people fill out the form, so they just fill out their name, email, whatever, it generates a certificate. And then you have that too. So it means you can sell the lead for more, you can work with networks. And then what you can do is you can stack the deck in your favor. And if you have a network as a backup, even if a client doesn't even if they're like, oh, well, this lead was good, but it wasn't fully qualified, you can still sell it to a network and break even or even profit. Read the fine print really helps to see samples. Do you have a good template that'd be good to use in the first outbound message? Sam, do we have a template that we could share?
I don't have a template. I honestly make them pretty unique on each one, but it's something along the lines of this. Hey Adam, this is Samuel with company name. Are you interested in whatever the offer is? If so, go to this link or give us a call at this number. It should only take 2 minutes. Reply stopped out that. That's literally it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Simple is best. All right, cool. Yeah, I think shorter the better. I mean,
because you have to pay per segment is the issue.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
segment,
yeah.
for those who don't know, is 110 characters or so, and you have to pay per segment that you send per text. So you want to limit how much you're sending, like how long the messages you're sending are, so you don't have to spend as much volume.
Ah, got you.
The link, he's going to send an email right after this for like a wait list for people that are interested.
Yeah, I'll do this as another. Every week we basically take the recording, we transcribe it, and then we chuck it in our blog and we send it out to everybody. With all the resources attached. But okay, it's been awesome, man. Well, look, we might start wrapping up there. Sam, thank you so much for coming in, dude. This has been awesome. I think oh shit, it's kind of limitless. Hey, like if you're able to
Yeah.
do this compliant and then you can pull the data with the intent,
That's
Like,
what's crazy. Because think about it like
yeah.
this: someone searches for something, the next day they can get a text, "Hey, thought you might be interested in this. Let me give you something that would help out." That'd be crazy.
Oh yeah, like we had
Robert,
that lady who was like, I was literally looking at this the other day, and I've got like this, like she literally was like, I've got this massive house, and like that's a really good
yeah,
deal.
yes. Well, actually, I have 568 windows. It's a big house. Okay, it's a mega mansion. I'm like, wow, all right. Um, yeah, Enzo, shoot your question. Robert had a question. It's obviously people, the AOL scans are not producing any kind of consent with any networks, and that we could, and so we could use that consent. I don't. So the consent is not TCPA consent. Um, so people are searching things. We're getting it from cookies. They never said, yes, I give permission for this company to reach out to me. So that's why you have to use this other method. That's not an ATDS. It's not on the DNC and it's not an artificial voice. What's the
Yeah, so we
consent
used
website?
to, I mean, just following on that, we used to actually give uh the website that person first consented on, right? Because it's opt-in leads, like it's people that have come in from opting in on other websites, right? Let's say Mary Smith filled out, went to creditrepair.com, filled out like something on creditrepair.com, put in an email, all this stuff there. So technically she gave consent, and on the fine print on that credit repair website, they were like, us and our partners are able to reach out to you. Before the
Mhm.
TCPA ruling in January, that was fine. But now it's about one-to-one consent. So, these people did opt in to hear from a company and their partners. But if you reach out and you say, hey, I have consent, blah, blah, like, it's not going to work like that. You have to treat the data steal as a cold call or a cold SMS, because consent, they consented to hear about an offer, but it wasn't your offer, is what we usually tell people. So um, it needs to be that one-to-one consent.
Yeah. And as far as the difference between B2B and B2C, it's if you are cold texting someone at a company, then that's B2C, even if the person, like the business, owns the phone. Now, if you're calling the main line, then I think that's a little bit different. I haven't done a whole lot of research into it, but it's kind of hard to cold text the main line for a B2B number because they very rarely have a text on it. It's usually a landline. So it's pretty much B2C totally. So that's why you have to be compliant for B2C for the
For
same for cold texting
for
B2B.
B2B, I'll just say this. There's a field that we've been working on. If you download an audience, it's called personal phone. Um, that's our best attempt to be able to get the direct extension or the direct line to be able to contact that business that isn't a sell. So it's a mixture of like their corporate phone and a few other things. And this is something that we're using to kind of scrub against when we're doing any kind of like outbound. And that's one of the compliance things we're putting into Diley when we put it out. Um, all right. Sweet. All right, we're gonna wrap up there. Um, Again, if you guys are new here and you're an agency owner, would love to meet you. I'll chuck in the link so you can book in. Um, you know, you can leave your credit card at home. It's not it's not gonna be a sales call. We're just literally gonna see what get you into our ecosystem. We've got a lot of cool stuff that we can share with you. So I'll chuck in that link there. Um, for those last few people, we've already had, I think we've got like 10 spots left. So if you want to get in quick, spots fill up. It's a very informative call. And there's so many things that we can offer if you're an agency. If you're not an agency, we still have some stuff, but I'll probably don't book in there. I'll send out some stuff through email. But if you're an agency owner specifically and you want access to services like this and you want to be able to use the data in this ways, and most people have access to the models, then get in and fill out that form and book a call. Because we also have something coming up called Incubator, which I'm super excited about, which I'm going to share more about later, which is really for if you're an agency in under 10K a month, we want to be able to help you get your first client, which is going to be, huge priority in Incubator. And that's actually going to be run by people that are already doing it. Like if you guys know Philip, dude's been with us for like 3 years as a client, and he's just been absolutely crushing it. And we got him, and we got Emmett, and we got all these other guys that are in the trenches actually doing the stuff. So it makes total sense that it should actually be run by guys that are doing it, not just teaching it. I'm still doing it, but man, some of the stuff these guys doing is insane. Okay, cool. We're gonna wrap up there, guys. I'll send out the recording for everybody. And yeah, thanks for coming. And Sam, thank you so much for sharing this with us, man. This has been awesome.
Absolutely.
I almost don't want to send the recording because I don't want everyone doing this because I'm about to launch like some other verticals myself, but I'm just kidding. We're gonna send it.
Let's not tell anybody.
All right, guys. Appreciate it. Everyone have a good week, and I'll send this out. And if you have any questions that we've missed, chuck them in the school, or you can always send an email to the
Yeah, I'll be in the school too.
Send out. But otherwise, chuck them in school. Oh, if people don't have access to school, let me just chuck that. Let me just put that in here real quick. There we go. There's the school. Or if you have a burning question, just book a call and someone can answer it there. All right, guys. Appreciate it. I'll speak to you soon.